Hey everyone, it's expressAmber, and it's everyone's favorite day of the week, the day that I give you express information so you can keep trucking in the express lane. I hope that you were able to watch my vlog last week from Matt's 2018, and if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and do it quickly now so that we can catch you up to speed to Sunday, April 1st, which is the doomsday of trucking. It's when the ELD mandate is going to start to be enforced. So starting April 1st, if you don't have an ELD in your vehicle, you are in jeopardy of getting put out of service for 10 hours. While we were at Matt's, the FMCSA held kind of like an open floor talk with the administrator, the new administrator, and it was just a discussion going back and forth between you, the owner-operators, and the new administrator of the FMCSA. And at times it got a little bit heated, but there was a lot of good points brought up, and some that they said that they had never heard, and some points that were discussed, which they have discussed already. So I'm going to just quickly go through and kind of give you a blow-by-blow of the conversation that happened, and then I would love to hear your comments. So down in the comment section, tell us what you guys are actually experiencing out there on the roads. They covered, obviously, the ELD mandate that is going to be coming into effect on April 1st. They covered the parking issue, which I know just from driving around and taking the trip to Louisville, Kentucky, there seems to be a ton more trucks parked on the entryways of the interstate. So the parking issue is a huge deal. And they also kind of went into what you can expect come April 1st, which you guys are now experiencing. Basically, the newest administrator said that in just 4 weeks' time, he has realized that it's not necessarily an issue with ELD mandates, it's more of an issue with the hours of service. And so they are working on changing the regulations of the hours of service from the 14-hour to make it more useful for you guys as opposed to being stuck in that 14-hour hours of service. He also said that he can't change the laws. He's not Congress. So there's the difference between a law and a regulation. There's two ways that the hours of service could be changed. Number one is that Congress gets involved, and he said most likely it's not going to go the way you want it to go, or the regulation just changing things about hours of service is well within his parameters. And so he made that very clear that he is listening and he is taking into account what you guys are saying about the hours of service. For the most part, we talked about the hours of service. The 14-hour clock has to go. We talked about making it as easy as possible on the law enforcement. So if there's all these different exemptions and different hours of service, and law enforcement has to keep up with all of this, it makes it very difficult for them to do inspections. The DOT is aware of the parking issue. They briefly spoke about how parking is at the state level, and they're working with different state agencies to remedy the problem, because basically it's becoming a huge issue where drivers are having to stop early to just get a parking space or pay to park, and that's between $14 and $19 to pay for a parking space, and that's just not gonna fly for you guys. Before ELDs were implemented, you guys had to schedule your days. And so, when it was traffic hour, I heard a lot of drivers say that that's when they would stop and take their nap, is, when it was traffic hour, and then they would get up and finish their day after that. Now with the ELD, the clock doesn't stop. So you're not able to turn off the ELD and say, okay, I'm not operating from the hours of 4 to 6, and then it adds it back onto your time. So that's a huge deal, and that's something that the FMCSA administrator did say that they were going to try to work with, is changing those hours of service. He talked about retention, driver retention, and he said, it's something that you guys aren't going to want to hear, but the ELD is going to help with driver retention, because once everything gets sorted out and all the kinks get worked out, it's going to actually help the drivers save time and make more money. There's also the point of your clock is running while they are loading your truck. And so by the time your truck is loaded, you have 30 minutes to try to find somewhere to park, and you can't stay there. They're going to kick you out the yard, but you can't find a place to park either. And so the FMCSA actually said that on the same day the ELD went into effect, another law went into effect that gave enforcement authority, the FMCSA, the grounds to investigate certain companies. So if you are out and you're taking a ton of time to get loaded, and now you don't have enough time to drive, you can actually contact the FMCSA either online or call them and give them the specifics of what happened. And once they get enough complaints about a certain company, they will investigate it. And then that will prevent that from happening again. Again, April 1st was the deadline to have the ELD in your vehicle, and so you need to get that done so that you're not in violation of this new law that Congress passed. Last thing is, how can you help? Obviously, when you get pulled over and you're having an inspection, there's over 170 different ELDs out there, and it's going to be very hard for law enforcement to keep up with each ELD and how it operates and all of that. So it's been said to have instructions there with you from the ELD. And then number 2, be helpful to the inspector. They're just doing their job and what they're told to do. So if you know how to quickly maneuver the ELD, go ahead and give them some help and let them do their job efficiently. And then if you are a driver who is exempt from the ELD mandate, have a piece of paper documenting that with you, so that during the inspection you can clearly hand that to them, and then he can go on with the inspection. So lots of things are happening in the trucking industry. This is a huge issue that you're dealing with, and we are going to stay on top of it and make sure that we bring you the up-to-date information as the regulation changes. Again, the FMCSA administrator did urge owner-operators to call your local legislation and just let them know that this is not acceptable and how it's affecting your business. And the more that you are involved, the more that they're going to hear that this new law that they passed is really affecting the trucking industry. All right, if you have comments, please let me know down below. We do want to hear from you guys on how this is affecting you, good or bad, and obviously we're here to help in any way we can. If you have not already and you want to, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, not to miss any of the important information and a lot of fun things too. And head over to Facebook and Twitter to follow me on expressAmber. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great week.